We have 5 lights on ahead of the drivers.
Ready, okay for you?
Yeah, okay.
Yes! Great race, Sean. P6 at the end.
From the grandstands, Formula One looks like numbers. Lap times, pit windows, Delta to car ahead. But then a radio message cracks.
Sake. Sorry, guys.
A visor lifts, or a last corner refuses to cooperate, and the math turns into something human. That's when F1 stops being a sport you watch and becomes a story you feel. Today, we're not chasing stats. We're chasing heartbeats, the moments that made the paddock go quiet, that made millions of fans shout at screens, and that still live rent-free in our heads. 10 scenes, each different, each unforgettable. And if you think you've seen them all, wait until you hear them told this way. But that wasn't the whole story. The crown that changed hands in a single breath. Rain smudged the light over Interlagos. Felipe Massa owned the afternoon, pole, control, composure. He did everything a champion is supposed to do: lead from the front, manage tires, keep the rhythm. In the other camp, Lewis Hamilton had a simpler task on paper. Finish 5th or better, and the title is yours. Simple on paper has a habit of turning complicated in Brazil. Late drizzle became a decision. Most pitted for intermediates. Toyota gambled on slicks and left Timo Glock out. One choice set the board for history. With 2 laps to go, Hamilton lost the comfort of 5th and fell to 6th. On Ferrari's pit wall, joy started to bloom. On McLaren's, a season teetered. Massa took the flag first. Sao Paulo erupted, and for 1 full second, Brazil had a champion. Then the camera cut downhill, onto wet asphalt and a Toyota with the wrong shoes. Glock's slicks turned to glass. Hamilton slid past in the final complex. 5th, by inches, by nerve, by the ugliest beautiful pass of his life. The roar turned to a gasp. Massa stood on the top step with tears in his eyes and a hand on his heart. He had won his home Grand Prix and lost the world. Then he found Hamilton in the chaos and said softly, "Congratulations." 2 men, 2 truths, 1 corner. And what happened next would prove that sometimes a single lap can split the sport in 2. Abu Dhabi, 2021, 1 lap that won't stop echoing. Yas Marina under neon, a season that could have ended in a handshake instead tightened into a fist. Hamilton controlled the race. Verstappen needed a miracle. A safety car in the final minutes offered one. Tires, track position, and a call about lapped cars combined into the most argued lap in recent memory. On the restart, Hamilton's used tires and Verstappen's fresh set squared up for a single sprint to the line. An overtake in the final lap crowned a champion and detonated a global debate about process, fairness, and what racing should be. In the days after, regulations were scrutinized, roles were reshaped, and the word unprecedented felt too small. For one camp, it was destiny. For the other, a title snatched by a decision nobody saw coming. For everyone else, proof that F1's endings can still make your heart forget how to beat. But not every emotional moment explodes. Some hollow you out with the quietest sound a racetrack can make. Imola, 1994. A weekend that changed the sport's soul. Some weekends are remembered in black and white. The San Marino Grand Prix is one of them. Practice fright. Qualifying shock. Sunday sorrow. The sequence is etched into F1's bones. 2 drivers didn't go home. A legend was gone, and with him an era ended. The sport did what grief sometimes forces you to do. Grow up fast. Circuits changed. Cars changed. Rules hardened. The halo we praise today was born from a promise made then. This will not happen again if we can help it. Imola, 1994, is proof that behind every safety innovation is a vow written in tears. But years later, when loss returned, the paddock chose love as its language. Jules Bianchi, when the paddock became a family. Some names become shared prayers. The number 17, Monaco's quiet on the grid. Drivers carrying tributes not as slogans, but as talismans. Charles Leclerc's gestures. Teammates who weren't teammates by contract, only by heart. The emotional weight wasn't loud, it was steady. Every walk down the paddock became a small memorial. Every win by those who knew him felt like a handshake with a friend you still miss. F1 doesn't often pause. For Jules, it did. And then came a different kind of miracle. The day the world watched a driver climb out of fire. Bahrain 2020, through the fire. It looked impossible. Then it happened. A car shattered, a barrier burst, flames rose higher than timing screens, and the worst thought showed up uninvited. Seconds later, a figure climbed out of a burning silhouette and into the arms of doctors who ran toward the fire. The halo, once argued about in pubs and forums, earned a lifetime of respect in a single clip. Romain Grosjean's survival was a storyline nobody dared write until the cameras showed it to us. That night, the grid exhaled together, for a man, for his family, for an idea called safety that suddenly felt like salvation. But emotion doesn't only arrive as relief. Sometimes it wears an underdog's grin. Spain 2012. The day an outsider made belief louder than doubt. Pastor Maldonado began that weekend as a long shot and ended it as a headline. Qualifying twists put him on pole. Sunday demanded proof. He drove with ice in his veins and numbers in his head. Undercut perfect, pressure absorbed, Spain's favorite son kept at arm's length. He took the flag, a first for Venezuela, a jolt of electricity for Williams, and a reminder that underdogs are dangerous when they smell daylight. The post-race fire in the Williams garage turned celebration into chaos, and gratitude into the only word that mattered. One year you're a punchline. One day you write a story nobody forgets. But resilience also comes as a loop. Fall hard, return stronger, at the same place that hurt you. Montreal 2007, Montreal 2008, Robert Kubica's circle. In 2007 at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, a violent crash made the world stop. 1 year later, the same driver returned to the same track and won. A calm, methodical victory by the man who'd taught everyone a lesson about fear and focus. There was no grand speech, just the quiet dignity of someone who had seen the worst and chosen to drive anyway. The checkered flag didn't only mark first place, it marked a circle closing. But if you want proof that champions feel everything we do, look at the day the rain took a national anthem away. Germany 2018, when a home crowd held its breath. Sebastian Vettel led his home Grand Prix on a day when the narrative felt aligned. Champion driver, champion team, nation watching. Then the weather turned petty, spitting just enough to mess with judgment. The Ferrari slid off and into gravel. There was a radio moment that sounded like no sound at all. Then a voice with edges on it. Post-race, Vettel met the cameras with eyes that told you more than quotes ever could. The crowd didn't boo, they empathized. Because sometimes a mistake doesn't define a driver, it reveals the weight he carried. And 4 championships earlier, a different champion learned that sometimes even the fastest car can't pass a wall of resolve. Abu Dhabi 2010, the night a midfield warrior decided a title. Fernando Alonso needed to fight through traffic to take a crown. Vitaly Petrov decided otherwise. Lap after lap, a Ferrari stared at the back of a Renault and found no door to open. When it ended, Alonso sat in his car and stared into space, the stillness of disbelief, before stepping out to applaud the man who had just rewritten his season. It was raw. It was respectful. It was a reminder that in F1, every driver is a main character on his own Sunday. And for the definitive last race chaos cocktail, rain, wrecks, damaged aero, title math, there's one mad classic. Brazil 2012, Destiny in a Storm. It rained. It stopped. It rained again. Jenson Button surfed the madness to a win. Fernando Alonso pushed destiny until it pushed back. Sebastian Vettel spun on lap 1, limped with a wounded car, then climbed through the mess like a man chasing a promise. The title swung in invisible arcs above the track from corner to corner until it landed in hands that wouldn't let go. The podium was less celebration than survival, 3 drivers looking like they'd run a marathon while juggling knives. If one weekend explains why we keep watching, this is it. Nobody can script rain. If you listen closely, every one of these stories says the same quiet sentence. This is who they are when it counts. Massa's grace, Hamilton's nerve, the sport's vow after Imola, the paddock's love for Jules, Grosjean's second birthday, Maldonado's audacity, Kubica's circle, Vettel's humanity, Petrov's stubbornness, Interlagos's weather as fate's favorite instrument. F1 looks like engineering. It is actually memory. And the reason you and I keep coming back is simple. Somewhere inside all the carbon fiber, someone feels exactly what we feel. The next time a radio crackles or a last corner stretches longer than it should, remember these 10 moments and ask yourself which one you'd freeze forever if you could. The roar at the flag, the handshake in the chaos, the visor lifted just enough to show a human being? Drop your moment below. Then tell me the next theme you want. Team radio lines that froze the paddock, home races that broke hearts, or the 10 greatest underdog Sundays. I'll pick the best suggestions for part 2.